So good evening, everyone. My name is Will Devos, and tonight we're going to be talking to you guys about Apple. All right, so most of you guys are probably familiar with Apple. It's one of the biggest tech companies in the world and called a tech giant. So quick question for all of you. How many of you have either an iPhone or a MacBook with you here tonight? Can I just get a show of hands? Okay, is there anybody out in the crowd who does not have either an iPhone or MacBook? Anyone? Hold your hand up high, I'm there with you. Okay, so, question for you though. Why? Why do you not go with Apple?
Oh, I lost my iPhone, so.
That's a fair enough.
enough.
Thank you for the icebreaker there. Okay, so for all of you Apple gurus, why Apple? Anyone? What do you like about it?
It's easy to use.
Easy to use?
Intuitive.
Intuitive? Anyone else?
Quickly sign.
Okay. So one of the other things that we found was a lot of people like the aesthetic of Apple. It's a very clean look, nice lines and everything. Some of you may be familiar with Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, married to Ivanka Trump, he likes Apple. He likes the way it looks, but he doesn't like the way it runs. So he actually runs a MacBook with a Windows skin on top of it. Kind of an interesting dynamic there. But still begs the heart of the question. People like Apple. So, some stuff backing all that up. It's one of the largest companies by revenue. They're raking in so much more money. Samsung, one of their next biggest competitors, I think they're only at about 2/3 Apple's revenue, which is rough if you're Samsung, but good overall. Largest tech company by total assets. One of the things that Apple did recently is they developed a program called Swift. It's a programming language. A lot of people are starting to use it. It created a 22% increase in Apple's overall products in the last year. Lastly, second largest company by volume. They may have Samsung beat in overall revenue raked in, but they do not have them beat in volume. They're only making a couple of MacBooks, usually 2 to 3 iPhones at a time, so that keeps the numbers down. So with that, I'd like to hand it off to Wei-Rong.
So here is our data chart, and we have the number of iPhones, iPads, and the Macs, and also the revenue and the individual product cost. And we are going to talk about it specifically in the following slides.
Alright, there's our infographic. Alright, so first I'm going to talk about a little bit about the individual cost of each Apple product. Apple products are relatively expensive compared to most products on the market, but as Apple CEO Tim Cook explains that Apple doesn't want to sacrifice price for quality, and that's a big reason why they do it like that. So here are some of the individual product costs. For iPhone, without a plan, say your average around $400. iPad maybe middle line, $600. And for a Mac, about $1,200. So a majority of their sales, as you can see, are from the iPhone. iPhone makes about 77% of their sales, I'm assuming, because 21st century, everybody has a cell phone nowadays. Second most would be about their iPads with about 16%, and third most is Macs. You could also, I would think you could also interpret this to be based on price. I mean, iPhones are the cheapest product that they have. They're more accessible to larger demographics. So to boil that down, 77% basically boils down to 212 million sold in 2016, 7% for Macs, 18 million sold 2016, and for iPads, 16% boiled down to 45 million sold in 2016, and now we're going to go into the revenue.
And from this graph, we can see the iPhone holds the most revenue. And for Macs, it has 22 billions, iPads 27 billion, and for iPhones it has 85 billions. And the total revenue is 134 billions. And you know, 134 billion is a huge number, but it's just the total of Macs, iPads, and the iPhones. And there is, and Apple has a lot of many products.
All right, so I'd like to leave you all off with a question here. Is there anything that Apple could do that would make you stop using their products. Recently, they've switched over to USB-C on a lot of their products, especially like the MacBook and stuff like that. They've also gotten rid of the headphone jack. So last year, when 2016, I believe it was September 16th specifically, they released the iPhone 7, okay? No headphone jack. Big thing in the industry. No one was doing it yet. That was the first time in the past 5 years that their fourth quarter sales had dropped. Went down almost 8%, which is significant for a tech giant like Apple. So think about that, guys. What will they do? Is it the headphone jack? Is it USB-C, Lightning? Would you ever stop buying Apple? Thank you.